playing Baldur's Gate 3. I've been loving Baldur's Gate 3 because I am a D&D dork. I'm a big D&D nerd. I love D&D. Baldur's Gate 3 is D&D, so therefore I love it. I have found drinks in Baldur's Gate 3. You might think that there's a lot of opportunities here, but there's not. It was pretty narrow because there's a lot of potions, but they're not unique to Baldur's Gate 3. They're not unique to Baldur's Gate video games. There's a lot of them that are just kind of generic to Dungeons & Dragons. There's a bunch of potions that are generic to Forgotten Realms. They're not potions, but like beverages. But I did find 3 drinks that are specific to Baldur's Gate 3 that, as far as I know, do not exist in the wider Forgotten Realms. And then there's like a 4th drink in this episode. There's a bit of a bonus. And that's because the voice actress who does the narration in Baldur's Gate 3, she has a YouTube channel. Her name is Amelia Tyler. You should check her out.
Who did this word with 4 apostrophes in it? Welcome to fantasy spelling, kids. Think you know how to pronounce it? I think not.
She has been posting the outtakes from her narration, and in one of them, she stumbled and created the Frothing Duergar, which is, she decided was a cocktail and that it has to have an umbrella on it. So I've got my umbrellas. We're going to make a Frothing Duergar. If you're not up to speed on this, Duergar are evil dwarves. That's really all you need to know. They're evil dwarves. They live underground, but like permanently underground because they're underdark dwarves as opposed to like mountain dwarves or city dwarves. And they got gray skin, and they're like a bunch of little Gordon geckos. They're like super duper greedy monster guys. They suck. We're gonna start with Stagswift Tonic. Stagswift Tonic was a creation of several high Lathendarian monasteries. The drink possessed properties that kept the monks awake for the first rays of the dawn and usually staying awake from the previous evening. My thinking on this is that these monks, they like to party. They're staying up all night, so we gotta put a little nightclub in there. And it's a bit of a morning after drink. So I was going on that, and here's what we got. It's gonna actually involve Jagermeister. It's a stirred drink, so let's stir it. I'm gonna start making this drink with 2 dashes of Angostura Bitters, 1/4 ounce of orange liqueur. I'm gonna use citron. I need a 1/4 ounce of Fernet. If you're not familiar with Fernet, this is like one of the more famously bitter aperitifs. A scant pour. I need 1 ounce of Cognac. I am using Pierre Ferrand 1840, but you can use the Cognac of your choice. And now, because these boys like to party all night, we got to put some Jagermeister into there. So 1 ounce of Jagermeister. Put some ice in there and stir. All right, now we've got our drink all stirred up. We're gonna pour the drink into our glass. For my garnish, I'm gonna do something a little bit weird. I'm gonna take a lemon and I'm gonna use the heel of my knife right here. And I'm going to try to do this. I haven't attempted this yet, not really. I'm gonna try to drag that in a circle. Give that a twist. Cut this little notch in there so I can bounce it on the edge of the glass. And look, it's a sun rising over the sea, over the wine dark sea. And there you have it. This is a Stagswift Tonic. I mean, normally you just drink this out of the bottle, but if you wanted to be presentational with your late night Stagswift Tonic, let's see how we made this here, this beautiful little drink from the Baldur's Gate. I really like that. There's a ton of flavors in this drink. It's a complicated thing. There's an herbaceousness to it that I really enjoy. There is this note of raisins and currants that comes through from the cognac, but you got this like really interesting interplay between the Jagermeister and the Fernet and the orange liqueur. It's an unusual combination, I understand. And I know Jaeger and Fernet can both be really overpowering, even on their own. And you would think you put them together, it's gonna be insane. But it's actually really moderated here. Warm, lemon, mellow, into a very mild licorice note that is riding on a current of rooty, earthy bitterness. It's like you made Jagermeister better. You took it away from being like a sickly sweet kind of thing and made it into a real aperitif. And then that finishes up on this round, sort of mellow cognac raisins thing. I think this is really a lot of fun. Very much enjoying this drink. It is an up drink. It's pretty dry too, you know, like a shook drink is gonna be a lot sweeter than this usually, you know, whiskey sour or something like that. This is it's a kind of a classic cocktail. It's weirdly good. I'm super happy with how this came out. The drink is too good. I should pause here to talk about the glass. This glass, like all the glasses on How to Drink, is from Whiskey. Whiskey makes beautiful glassware. They asked if they could sponsor the show. I said, yeah, sponsor the show. You make great glassware. So if you like this glass and you want other great glasses to put your drinks in, check out the link in the pinned comment below or up here in the corner. Use code HowToDrink15 at checkout. You're going to get 15% off of your order from Whiskey Glassware. Thank you to Whiskey for sponsoring the glasses on How to Drink. My official glassware provider. Now I need an official flannelware provider. Next up, I want to make Chultan Fireswill. Chultan Fireswill is made on the Isles of Chult, and from the description, it sounds like it's a very hogo, intense, funky, rugged kind of Jamaican-style rum, like a oof. It's also got the name Fireswill in it, so I feel like it should have some smoky notes, maybe some cinnamon notes, you know. I got some ideas there. It's kind of gonna follow a little bit of a tiki vibe here. So the first thing I'm gonna need are Pog Juice. I don't know, I was playing around with this and I really liked the idea of using Pog Juice. This is nothing more than an equal parts blend of passion fruit, orange juice, and guava juice. From what I understand, it is quite popular in Hawaii, and it's where Pogs came from. And if you are of my generation, you know what that means. Otherwise, you don't. Pogs were these little cardboard things that came in the cartons of Pog Juice originally, but then they became a thing that you could buy and collect. And there was a game that you played with them where you stack them up and you threw like a metal thing at it. I don't know how it worked. I owned a lot of Pogs for 5 minutes, and I was like, this is stupid. I was never like a Pogger, you know? But I had a few Pogs. Like, I think I bought one set, because they were very popular. But yeah, that's where Pogs come from. I don't know how much you know or don't know about what goes into making a show like How to Drink, but it takes a lot of work. I mean, a lot of work. I'm in the studio a lot. I am not complaining. I'm like the luckiest guy in the world, but I do find myself pretty frequently in a bind where I don't feel like I have enough time to cook up dinner. That's why I love Factor, who happen to be the sponsor of this episode, so thank you, Factor. Factor sends fresh, never frozen, full meals straight to your home, and they only take a couple of minutes to heat up in either a microwave or an oven, and they're good. They're great. It doesn't ever feel like I'm making some kind of a heavy compromise when I heat up one of these. Every week, the menu at Factor is gonna have a bunch of meals that will cater to whatever your dietary preferences are, so if you're vegan or you're vegetarian or you're maxing out on protein and doing the keto, calorie tracking, it's easy with these guys. Personally, what I love is how much it helps me with portion control, because when I grab a Factor meal and I look at the box, I know exactly what I'm eating. Like this one is 660 calories. I don't have to grab a scale. I don't have to guess. I don't have to run through some calculator thingy. Just got the answer. And having Factor around the house and in my fridge, it helps me order a lot less takeout, which is a really good thing for both my wallet and my health. And in this case, we're gonna have, what are we having? We're gonna have turkey chili and zucchini. That sounds really good. And this whole thing just goes in there, for about 7 minutes. All right, that's about done. Let's see how it is using my handy dandy don't get burned again glove. I like that even better. I like the zucchini the way I did it here a lot. This is great, and if you want great meals like this, head to factor75.com or use the link in the pinned comment below or the one up here in the corner. You can use code HowToDrink50 to get 50% off your first Factor box. And thank you again to Factor for sponsoring this, and I send you now back to the show. Yum, yum, yum. Yum, yum, yum. We're gonna start with 3/4 of an ounce of my Pog Juice. I want 3 dashes of chocolate bitters. I'm using Bitterman's Chocolatl bitters. These have a little bit of a spicy kick to it. I really like Angostura's chocolate bitters too. These are a little bit sweeter and not really what I'm looking for here. And when you have a thing with a dropper like this, a dash is a whole drop. That's roughly a dash. You want 3 dashes, that's 3 droppers full. A dash is a dash, right? And it's not a drop, that's a different thing. 1/2 ounce of cinnamon simple syrup. This is nothing more than my 2-to-1 simple syrup that I cook with a couple of cinnamon sticks in there. Make sure you get Ceylon cinnamon sticks, not the cassia ones. I'm gonna put a link in the pinned comment below and up here to where you can pick those up on Amazon. Totally different thing. If you've ever seen a recipe that says, and break up some cinnamon stick and throw it in there, and you try to break up your cinnamon sticks and they're made of wood, and you're like, what in the hell? This is crazy. That's because those are cassia, which is not like apparently real cinnamon. Real cinnamon is Ceylon, and the Ceylon like crumbles. It falls apart really easy. 1/2 ounce of this guy. And yeah, mine's got some like chunks of cinnamon stick in it. I just let it keep steeping, but there's also some like loose flakes. I'm pouring it really slow to try and hold some of that back. We want 1/2 ounce of Mezcal. I think this is a good Mezcal for this. I haven't even opened it yet, but why not? I used a different Mezcal when I was formulating the recipe, but usually you don't want a recipe that's like, only this spirit, but let's see if, yeah, that'll be fine. 1/2 ounce of Mezcal. Just a little. We don't want to overpower this thing. I like using Mezcal that way. I think Mezcal can be used as not a dasher, the way you would an Amaro. I don't think it needs to be the whole drink. I think a little Mezcal can do a thing to a drink. Now I need an insane pour of rum. Now, there is Hamilton Rum, makes great rums. They're fantastic. This guy, excellent rum. He's kind of a collector of rums. You got the Demerara 86, which is an 86 proof Demerara rum, but we're gonna use the 151. You could use what you think is appropriate, but from the description, I feel like we need fire. So this is 1.5 ounces of our 151. And I don't want you to think that that's just like pure rocket fuel. I mean, it is rocket fuel, but an overproof rum has a lot of stuff going on in it. A lot of flavors. Another really flavorful overproof rum is Ray and Nephew. It's phenomenal. Now, it's time for shaking. Hey, buddy, yeah, it's time for shaking. All right, Tim. For glassware, we'll use this. Another beautiful whiskey glass. I'm gonna just do a dump right on in there. You don't need to garnish this by any stretch of the imagination, but if you happen to have some really sad looking wilty mint, throw it in a drink. Ah, my mint looks like crap. Womp, 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 womp. All the same. And there we have the Chultan Fireswill. Woo! Oh yeah, wow. It's been a couple days since I had that. I was working that out the other day. That is fun. All right, so this drink is heady with flavors. It comes in with a kind of a mellow, oaky sweetness. Oaky? A mellow, molassesy sweetness, let's say that. And it slides into cinnamon and smoke from the Mezcal, and then that gives way to the chocolate, which is a loud flavor. 3 to 4 dashes of those chocolate bitters really cuts through here, and it finishes on that kind of dark chocolate vibe. I think that there's an argument that this drink would benefit, and I'm just gonna modify my own recipe right now, from a little lime juice. I think we could have put that in there. You know, these are all works in progress, right? Like, I work out these recipes, I rethink them sometimes as I work on them. I think maybe half an ounce. Just gonna stir that in. I think it just needs a little bit more acidity to kind of cut it. Yeah, get a half an ounce into yours. Half an ounce to an ounce. Now, that's all 151. So this is the potency of 2 drinks. 2 drinks. Just keep that in mind if you drink one of these. It's already a double. It's something. No. It's good. With the lime, it almost feels like grapefruit. It almost feels that way, but that's because of the Mezcal and the lime. They kind of combined it a little bit like that. I really like this drink. I think that this is an honest to God tiki drink. I think it belongs in my own little personal tiki pantheon. I think that I would love to see more twists on it. I could see it on fire with some cinnamon being thrown at it, of course. I like it. This is Chultan Fireswill. It's a bracing kind of tiki drink. It is not entirely unlike a Jungle Bird in that way, actually. It's just very, very, very potent. This is a lot of cocktail, and I'm gonna put it away. I don't know if you know this about me, but I am not a Chultan. I can't just throw down the Fireswill like a native Chultan, like someone who is from Chult. Greg of the Groggs is not from Chult. Do you know about that? You don't know about that because I haven't told you about that. This is the first of what I hope to be many Dungeons & Dragons episodes because something insane has happened in the past several months. Something truly befuddling, mind-blowing. You see, when Dungeons & Dragons Honor Amongst Thieves came out, I received an email from the production design department pointing out to me that in the climactic battle sequences of the film, you will see in the background many, many, many stalls. You know, there's merchants, there's traders who have come to Neverwinter to profit from the high summer games. And one of them is a libations seller. There's a sign above this stall written in Thoras, which is the script used in Faerun, which is the world of Forgotten Realms. This script says, when translated, Greg's Groggs. Now, I would have never noticed this. It's a tiny little background element. It's written in a language I can't read, except for the fact that the production design department sent me photos of it from set and said that it was a reference to me. I personally have chosen to believe, and I think you should too, that I am now an official Forgotten Realms NPC. I'm a character in the Forgotten Realms. That's canon, man. That's how that works. So Greg's Groggs, I have decided, is a chain of, it's a franchise. He franchises it. Greg of the Groggs. It's a franchise operation. There's stalls all over the Sword Coast. You'll find a Greg's Groggs with many of his signature recipes, of which these are some. And so I hope to do much more with Greg's Groggs here as we endeavor to flesh that out. In fact, I'm gonna go one further. I bet there's gonna be a goddamn sequel to that movie, or maybe a series on Netflix or something. I don't know. I want to be in it. Put me in it, damn it. Let's do that. Put me in the movie. Greg's Groggs. Blew my mind. Blew my mind straight out. Honestly, though, I think I want to do like a lot more Dungeons & Dragons content in the coming months, like many episodes. Unless you guys really hate this. All right, so now I want to make Beyond and Oblivion. So this was really the first drink I noticed in the game, and then it made me kind of go back and reassess a few other things I had seen and be like, okay, cool, we got something here, we got an episode. When you get to Act 2 in Baldur's Gate 3, you will have to go to, I forget the name of the town, but basically you're trying to get to Moonrise Towers, which is a haunted place It's like filled with shadow demons, and it's awful. It's a miserable place. Everything there is undead. And there's a bar there called the Waning Moon, which presumably used to be nice, but it's now being run by zombies. And they're not like, it's not like funny. I mean, I guess it's kind of funny, but they're not like, oh, hey, we're zombies running a bar. It's like dead things just kind of still going about their business as if they don't know they're dead. It's kind of creepy. But you get to meet the brewmaster, who is now an undead, a thing. Drink! And his name is Thizabald Thorm, and he will drink with you. A drink that he refers to as only the best, Oblivion and Beyond. So I thought, we gotta make that. That sounds great, Beyond and Oblivion. Given the circumstances, I felt like I should try my dangdest to combine a mind eraser and a zombie. And this is the results, the Beyond and Oblivion. We're gonna shake this drink. And if you pass your Constitution saves, you can drink me into exploding. I love that scene because as you drink, everybody disapproves. Everybody's just like, what the fuck are you doing, man? So let's start this drink. I'm gonna start with a 1/4 ounce of simple syrup. You know that loud pop means I just made this and I corked it hot. All right, 1/4 ounce. I'm gonna double this recipe for presentation purposes. Yeah, a 1/4 ounce of simple syrup, 1/4 ounce of velvet falernum, 1/2 ounce of lime juice, 2 ounces of coffee liqueur. Don't use Kahlua, use something at least very like Mr. Black, something that's not full of sugar. Of course, I'm doubling it. And since we are drawing inspiration from the zombie, the drink needs some overproof rum in it. I'm gonna use Wray and Nephew. This is going to be some really funky dunky stuff. 1 ounce for a single, 2 ounces if you're making the Insanity double. Shake that all up. And strain it into a drinkmate bottle. This is part of why I doubled it. Also, like in the game, he's like serving it out of like this giant barrel on his back and it just comes shooting out, so it's gotta be kind of under pressure. So I think carbonating it makes a lot of sense. Also, if you think about how he dies, it's gotta be kind of under pressure, you know, or dies. Do undead things die? I don't think so. I think they just sort of stop doing what they're doing. Carbonate the drink. A little agitation helps it fill up with carbonation. A little agitation helps with the carbonation. And then we're gonna hit it again. And I gotta let it sit. As you can see, it's all frothy. Oblivion and Beyond, you know, it doesn't happen all at once. It takes a little time here. And there we have our drink. It's gonna stew in its carbonation and become more carbonated now. This is the only mug not provided by Whiskey in this episode. They don't make wooden, old-timey tavern mugs. And also I'm gonna do something here that I cannot advise you to do, which is I'm gonna put some dry ice in it. Safety-wise, that's a bad idea, but if you wanna look cool. Also in the game, it is like a smoking mess. I am going to use a glove, throw a chunk of dry ice in, lead off our pressure, and now our drink goes into the mug. And there you have a smoldering glass of terrifying Oblivion and Beyond, fit for a zombie. So officially, you definitely should not drink this while it's smoking. It's not safe to do that, but I'm still gonna. That's on the money. That tastes like it's, whoa, woo! So first off, it tingles from all of the extreme carbonation. I actually forgot an ingredient too. I said I wanted a little absinthe on that. I meant to put it in before I added the drink, but that's fun too. It tingles in your mouth because of the extreme level of carbonation. And of course, throwing CO2 ice into it, like dry ice into it, only helps kind of maintain that. Now, especially with the absinthe, that has such a powerfully potion-like aroma. It doesn't taste far off from like a Coca-Cola, actually, which is weird. Yeah, I mean, the coffee is dominant, right? You get coffee cut with lime, and coffee and citrus go better together than you might think. Just the right amount of sweetness, it's well balanced. It's got that hoots of rum hogo, which actually gives it this real funky, kind of gnarly finish. It's a frothing, carbonated mess. It is scary and threatening. It's, I'm shooting this just before Halloween. It is certainly Halloween appropriate. And yep, this is actually very, very, very even like screen accurate to what you are served in that scene. So I'm very happy with the way this came out. This is Beyond and Oblivion. Apparently Greg of Greg's Groggs, in his quest to research all of the drinks of the Sword Coast, he must have gone to the Waning Moon and had a drink with Old Thistlebauld. And a delicious drink it is too. I mean, the absinthe and the coffee kind of commingle in there. There's a lot of chocolate notes. Even though there's no chocolate in here, it reads like chocolate. You want it to taste bad, right? Like in the game, it tastes bad. You gotta make like a Constitution save. Everybody's angry. It's being served to you by an undead creature, but you don't want it to taste bad. It's like a really fine line to walk, like, so that you can pretend bad, like you imagine it's bad, This is definitely not bad. This is good, you know? I mean, coffee and a zombie kind of merged. It works out really well, it turns out. It is aggressive. It's an aggressive flavor. Totally palatable, but it has like a real bite to it. It's got, the coffee is kicking butt in here. And actually, I didn't have it before in a wooden mug, but this mug brings its own flavor with it, the oak staves of it. And there's something to be said for the way that that's interacting here too. It's kind of, I don't know if kicking up the bitterness is the right way to say it, but like it's bringing its own kind of funkiness. I accidentally inhaled, woo, a bunch of that CO2 and it burned my nose. So I'm gonna take a little break here. I don't like the way that felt. I think it's like cherry notes. I think really weirdly, yeah, there's a cherry note in there. That's what it was. I couldn't identify it before. That last sip that went up my nose, I failed my constitution save right there. That's what happens. I would not expect that. It's got like a chocolate cherry vibe. It's very cool. I'm having a lot of fun with this drink. Beyond Oblivion. All right, well, I want to make a Frothy Duergar. The Frothy Duergar does not appear in the game. The Frothy Duergar is a drink that comes to us because the narrator of the game, the voice actress who does the narration is Amelia Tyler. She has a YouTube channel. She's been posting videos of the outtakes of her narration, and there are many of them. In one of them, she flubbed a line and invented the Frothy Duergar.
That's a new cocktail. Can I have 2 bloodlusts and a Frothing Duergar, please? There's always an umbrella in a Frothing Duergar.
The idea for this comes from my Patreon. My Patreon, we have a Discord. They're in there. They're suggesting ideas. We're all chatting. It's fun. If you want to join the Discord, if you want to get in on that action, join the Patreon. And I would thank you very much for supporting the show. But what nobody could have anticipated was that I know a little bit about Duergars. What I know about the Duergar is that they have a drink that they make from fermenting fire lichen, which is a lichen that grows near like geothermal vents. It's got like an orange, purple, white vibe. When you powder and ferment it, it forms a paste that is super duper spicy, but edible. You can add it to soups or stews and spread it on spore bread, apparently, for flavor. All right, let's make a Frothy Duergar. We're gonna start with a 1/4 ounce of simple. I need a 1/4 ounce of maraschino. I need an ounce of lemon juice. I need 1.5 ounces of mezcal. We're back to the mezcal on this one. 1/2 ounce of ancho reyes. This is a spicy chili liqueur. And 1/2 ounce of green chartreuse. 1 egg white. And we're gonna dry shake this. Whenever you have an egg white in a drink, you probably want to dry shake it. It just helps the egg, the proteins to loosen so that you can get that nice frothy head. When you dry shake, you want to be very careful because it's much more common, much more likely for your shaker to break when you're dry shaking than when you have ice. There we go. Let's get our ice. We need a pinch of salt. There you go. You could also use a saline solution, but a pinch of salt's fine. And now shake it up. Strain that into a glass, another Whiskey glass, beautiful glass from Whiskey. It should form a frothy white head. You're gonna need something for your absolutely mandatory umbrella to hold on to, so make yourself a lemon wheel, and there you have a Frothy Duergar. Cheers. I don't know, I'm sure the Duergar have some horrifying saying, but whatever. Whoa. That is frothy and smoky and really well balanced and not too sweet and not too not sweet. Kind of a fun drink. It's a really fun drink. It leaves your mouth feeling dry, like drier than before you drank it, which feels on point. That feels like the way a Frothy Duergar should be. A Duergar drink. It feels like it's kind of a sad drink, despite its beautiful and playful umbrella. Kind of makes you, okay. It's a good drink. It's a drinkable drink. Just got the right amount of lemon juice in there. It's got plenty of proofery heat. It's got all the things going on in there. The mezcal is well tempered too. Mezcal is really easy to overpower a drink. Here it is. It's nice and it's put on a pedestal and it's present but not overly present. It's just about the right amount of mezcal for me. It's a fun smell. It's got like a burning kind of hellfire scent to it. I like that. This has been the Drinks of Baldur's Gate 3. I have a lot more D&D content I want to do on the channel now. Now that Groggs is a franchise operation in the Forgotten Realms. I think there's another episode for Baldur's Gate 3. I think we could do Anti-Ethel's potions. I think that there's an episode of just plain old Dungeons & Dragons potions. I've never actually done that. I think there's an episode just exploring the beverages of the Forgotten Realms. Not Baldur's Gate specifically, but the Forgotten Realms, the campaign setting. Might be stuff that we can do straight out of the movies. So I think that we've got a lot of D&D content that I can make here, and I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna keep making it until they officially put Groggs into a campaign book and into let me be in a movie or a show with them. That's what I wanna do. I'm gonna do it. Guys, let's do it. Let's make it happen. My expectations are low. I'm not going to lie. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. Of these, which one was my favorite? At the moment, I'm a fan of the Stagswift Tonic. And I just remembered, of course, that there were 2 reasons why I wanted this to be built around Jagermeister. One is because it's the up-all-night party drink. But also, I think probably more importantly, it's because it's Stagswift. It's got the stag right on there. All right, guys, thank you so much. See you soon with another episode of HTD. In the meantime, there's a lot more content here. You know, I've done other Dungeons & Dragons content, too. So if you're into that kind of thing, I'll put up some links. Thank you so much. Like it, subscribe it. See you next time on HTD. Good night. Good luck.